Hello and welcome to season 4 of Own Your Divine Light show. Today, our topic is accelerating ascension during chaos and pandemic. And I am Isla Serona Miller. That's my magical name of Janet, which I am stepping into more and more. And we've all been going through so much, and it's feeling like things are starting to lift, and yet there's still so much on the horizon that is so yet to be known. And we're meant to create new ways of being. And today's guest is the most beautiful, bright, brilliant light that brings so much healing and insight into her work with star seeds and many, many beings of, I think she calls it the Blueray light. And I'm so excited to meet and introduce you to Tifanny Tin. Welcome, Tifanny. I'm so excited you're
Hi,
here.
Janet. Thank you for inviting me to be here. And hi, everyone. So honored to be here with you today.
And I'm going to tell you a little more about Tifanny. Tifanny is a certified meditation facilitator and spiritual channeler, star seed reader who is working with hundreds of clients with she has had over 350 plus workshops, classes, and sold out retreats. She is the lead teacher at the High Priestess Ascension Academy. She has regular classes teaching Reiki, channeling messages with spirits, and she guides in light language, which is so exciting. I think we might get lucky and hear some today. And in her sessions, she offers a variety of services ranging from energy healing, channeling with spirit guides, past life integration, shadow work, inner child work, womb healing, and so much more. So before she started her own business, she struggled with depression, social anxiety, and then through her own healing, she traded her business suit for her purpose. And she now helps thousands of people live with passion. She's been featured on Wisdom from North, Between the Priests, Women is it Women Unleashed, Goddess Retreat, 1111 TV, which I don't know that one, Soul Movement and Pop Villa. And she has an international audience to her YouTube channel. So excited to have you here, Tifanny. I am so impressed with the things that you have accomplished. Oh my goodness, you have really become such a cosmic consciousness, and you've really accessed your multidimensional way of being. So I've
Thank you, Janet.
heard some stories of your, and thank you. Yeah, you got to be able to talk here. So, I've heard some of your stories and what you think people need to know. What do you think they need to know before we dive into what you do? What do you think that they need to know about your story that would help them know you even a little deeper?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in relation to our topic being in the pandemic and using it as an opportunity of ascension and growth, I notice a lot of us that are highly sensitive, empaths, and however you label yourself, earth angels, Bluerays, or star seeds, we can fall into the vibration of feeling isolated or lost when it comes to our purpose. And so I wanted to just bring forth this awareness that we are collectively going through this evolution, collectively coming from the throat chakra of expression, individuality, into that dark night of the soul, and then through up to the crown of enlightenment and natural meditation. And so though this time, it's like we're all little seeds, like star seeds, in this darkness, just waiting to blossom. And I think that a lot of us need to have that affirmation that on the soul level, you're very connected to all of us, and do not forget that quantum connection, and allow yourselves to use this opportunity to really sink into how do you want to express your purpose? Do you want to find it, discover it? Do you want it to remain a mystery, or do you want to accept it or embrace it? And allowing yourself to open your network and work with like-minded individual. We're all being pushed into this pressure cooker right now. It's like divine is like, all right, guys, find each other and make projects together and create this new earth you meant to come to create. So I think that's one of the biggest part. of what inspired me in my journey, because like we mentioned, in the corporate, I just didn't feel like I was sovereign. Like many of you, I had like 10 bosses to answer to,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
it's just not in alignment to our soul. And I think that at this time, we've really been called during this solar minimum cycle to really shift our reality and create the one that you want to live, whether you're an artist or you are a healer channeler, or if you like Jeanette, like a facilitator, a host, and all of these multidimensional aspects. We're not really just one person, one position. It's a integrated aspect of who we are.
Yeah, wow. That's a beautiful explanation of everything that you're doing and what you're offering to people, because this is what we need so much right now, and it's so powerful. And you heard, I have to say, Tiffany's YouTube channel is incredible. So if you want to connect with her there, she really does amazing teachings. And I experienced her Arcturian bioplasmic activation. And oh my gosh, it was the most gorgeous activation I've had. And it was so light and I felt so clear. And the love that she brings in is just so palpable. I mean, it was just amazing. So you have a wide range of what you do with your modalities. So what are your favorites? What do you really find that brings people the most clarity, the most healing? What have you been getting the most, feedback? And what do you
Mhm.
enjoy doing?
It kind of evolved, and I started with Reiki, then shadow work, then Akashic readings, and now
Ah,
more star seed activation, helping people download gifts. So I would say those are my favorite. My top favorites definitely talking about star seed consciousness,
yeah.
helping other women in my school become healers. That is also very fulfilling and very empowering. Just healing a lot of feminine wounds and bringing back, hey, we can be sisters and work together and not compete like we do in the corporate, and really work with one another. So those are my favorite, and also light language as well.
Ah,
That's
yes.
always fun.
Yeah, yeah. So the Akashic Records, and that's finding people's soul lineages, right?
Yes.
So what do you do? Like, how do you do that? What is your approach on that?
Yeah, there are many, many different ways depending on like the person's uh, receptive ability. Some
Mhm.
people see things, some people feel, or they just kind of know things
Yep, yep.
telepathically. So
Senses.
as a channeler, you kind of have to see who's the recipient and try to guide them to receive information from the Akash.
Mm,
Sometimes I channel for them, and other times once they reach a certain level, I start to then teach them how to fish or how to channel
mhm,
themselves. And so the process is like a deep meditation. I guide them into a journey and
mhm.
activate their light body. We do a lot of protection, a lot of grounding before we do this type of work.
Yeah.
And then we go and access that cache. And there are many ways to access that cache. Some people use the crystal caves. It
Mhm,
could be the ones in the inner earth.
mhm.
You can also access it through your higher self or your DNA and the ley line. There's really a
Ah,
multitude of
okay.
ways to connect with the
Yeah.
Akash. So,
So I know, and I know you love to work with star seeds, and you kind of have almost a particular group, like I mentioned, the Blu-ray. How did you figure that out? And how did you figure out how to connect with those Blu-rays?
yeah, so the Blu-ray, it just fall into my lap. Like your guides always tell
Uh-huh.
you what you
Uh,
need to do, right?
right, right.
I first learned about Indigo adults with like
Yeah.
Lee Carroll, Prion, and Doreen Virtue. And then I'm like, well, I'm not exactly like an Indigo, so what am I? And then I was like absorbing information like a sponge, like many of your viewers were like, oh my God, let me learn about all this thing.
Yeah.
And the term Blu-ray came up, and I'm like, oh, but that was really new actually. When I first did my Blu-ray video, there was only about 5 videos on YouTube, and now there's many more since the one that I made. So now, and many people are getting to know more about the spectrum of their soul. It's like a rainbow. You
Mm-hmm.
can be totally indigo, or you can be totally Blu-ray, or a mixture of both, like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to understand, not to categorize ourselves in a box, but just allowing you to say, what energy am I expressing? So
Mm-hmm.
Blu-ray is one of them, and indigo is one of them. There's crystals, children, and rainbow
Yeah.
children, and so forth.
Yeah. I know that when I went to Egypt in 2005, and I was working with a woman, and we were following the blue energy, and we were connecting with blue people, and a lot of blue ray energy. And yet when I heard you say that, I'm like, wow, that's so cool, because not a lot of people talk about it. And so I know I was indigo. I've been indigo forever, but yet I think there's some Blu-ray in there now, because when you talked about, I checked in and I'm like, I definitely have the Blu-ray in there, because I've been working with it, for years in my own way. But the way you do it is incredible. So what are some of the common galactic guides that you find, these star seeds? Like, talk about the star seeds and what you want to tell us about them.
Sure. So there are millions of souls that through the Akash, when you connect with them, that have lifetimes from outside of our solar system. A lot of times, a lot of people have a preconception that when you do an Akash, it's only Earth.
Mm,
But I myself and other many channelers can see beyond Earth and see into, okay, where was your soul really from in the sector of the galaxy? And I noticed that most of the common star system that we call constellations are like
mm,
Arcturus, Pleiades, Cygnus, Lyra, Orion, Sirius.
mhm.
There's a few of them as well. There's some that are more specific, like the star Polaris or even Draconis. There's
Yeah.
quite a few of what is it, multi-galactic spectrum on Earth. That I think that's why it makes Earth so interesting, and all eyes is on Earth. So your soul can origin from one star system, but also because your soul is an all soul, you can have other lifetimes in other star system.
Mhm.
So I noticed some new stars, they so focused on finding, okay, what is my one home? Your home is now your heart, your body, right? You're just branching out like a tree to get your multi-dimensional knowledge and wisdom and gifts and synthesize it here and express it here. So just wanted to point that out.
Yes. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's my understanding too. So it's nice to hear that, we're all working in the same directions, because I know I had a connection to Sirius when I first started reading books by someone who had all talk about Pleiadian. And I know I have a connection there too, but yet the Sirius connection was a bigger one. And I was like, wow, this is the one that keeps resonating with me. And then I know you connect with Arcturians, and that came
Mhm.
up early in the 2000s. And I'm like, wow, who are these beings? And nobody was really talking about them too much then. But now they're like, they're the ones, they're like one of our major guides on this, in this planet, to move us out of this chaos and into ascension. They're
Yes,
one of the major groups. Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, they are very beautiful beings. And, there's like, we live in a duality world. So, of course, there's like good service to others, Pleiadians, and then service to self, Pleiadians. So, that's a tricky part when you want to connect with your cosmic guide, is you have to, it's better to work with a mentor. I see a lot of people, yes, you can self-empower, do it yourself, but when they don't know the protection, when they don't have that
mhm.
pure grounded consciousness, they start to, attract not so good beings.
Oh,
So my tip for your viewers, if they want to discover their starseed connection or guides, is to work with someone that they trust, right? Like, watch their video, go to their website, just feel into the energy that this channeler is pure, is genuine, and then work with them. Like, I myself work with a mentor for a year
mhm.
in the beginning of my journey, to learn healing, to learn channeling, before I started my YouTube channel. So do it in a safe way. And sometimes there's a blind spot that people don't want to admit, or they
Yeah.
don't want to work on, and then they feel stuck. They're like, I'm not channeling, something is wrong with me. It's simply your higher self protecting you. Sometimes when you open too fast, I've seen people go into psychosis and they lose
Mhm.
themselves because they haven't dealt with their shadows. So that's definitely step one, is dealing with the shadows, any emotional wounds that is lingering in your field. And once you clear that, once you integrate, and once you become very grounded, that's when you should start channeling, because then you have a very grounded consciousness, and then you can attract higher vibrational guides, because there's different dimensions. You can connect with a fifth dimensional Pleiadian, which still have emotions like us, which still can have, you know, distortions too, and they admit that. Or you can even go higher into 7 density and higher, and then they are just like light beings. They don't have a physical body, they just like jellyfish transparent light beings. When you see them, bright light, sometimes we call them angels. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, so really there's so much to learn about channeling and connecting with the galactic realm. But yes, start with the inner world first. Once the inner world is strong and you have your truth, then you become a very, very powerful channeler for yourself or to help others.
Mm. Wow. So I know these activations you do with the Acturians and the Pleiadians are so powerful. So what are you finding right now that people are needing? Because I know I did that bioplasmic and that was unbelievable.
Absolutely. So I find that most people right now really need a lot of connection and also a lot of spiritual upliftment. The sun has been blasting us with a
Mm.
lot of the
Yeah,
solar waves, right? Because we're
yeah.
in this solar event that is progressive. Um, Too bad that the mainstream doesn't teach people this, but when you are receiving these codes, these light codes, and you're not able to recognize what it is consciously and practice how to ground it, like the bioplasmic practice that you shared today with the Octurians, they're teaching us, okay, once these light comes into you, how do you ground it? How do you integrate it? When a
Mhm.
lot of people don't know or don't have the resource to do that, they start to get into this vortex and they start to
Ah,
feel depressed, anxious, dark night of the soul, and all
mm,
these kind of fun stuff.
mhm, mhm.
So I think right now it's so important for us to share this information to as many as people as we can, so they know what's going on, so they know how to deal with the energies.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I remember in healing school when I went in 2000 to 2003, um, my a friend came over and we went over to this bridge and we were looking in the water. And
Mm,
then all of a sudden, I was seeing symbols in the water. And it was
mm,
unbelievable. And I haven't had that since, but it was incredibly, she and I were just transfixed. It was happening to her too. We were both there. These symbols were just flashing in the water and you could see them. I mean, I could see them in my third eye and it was just unbelievable. And when we came back, we just sat in my healing room and just sort of let it integrate. But we felt it was a really good experience. It was like perfect, it was just what we needed. But I understand what you say. People can get so ungrounded, especially right now with things going on. It's just a whole
mm.
different style. And you do need a mentor to help you through these because there's so much trying to take us in another direction.
Right,
Yeah, it's so
exactly.
much of that going on. So you've got to be so aware and yeah, and so channeling. So I know you love channeling and you find it extremely valuable. So tell us a little more because I know you did tell us some. What else can you tell us about what? Because
Yeah.
I tried channeling. I mean, I just had some being try to come through me, but I was so resistant. I was so
Mm.
resistant and it was very jerky. And so it was in a group circle and I was like trying to relax, but I couldn't, but it was such an unusual experience, totally different. And
Mhm.
and after I finished it, I thought, wow, I really enjoyed that. I want it to happen again, but yet, I was still resistant. So I'd love to hear what you would say to someone like me who was going through that.
Yes, so I see that a lot with people resistance, and usually that's where the shadow work comes through, right?
That
It's
was a while
either
ago. Yeah.
they don't trust themselves or they
Yeah.
don't trust the environment because of the trauma that we've all gone through in childhood,
I
some of
see.
us to different
Okay.
degree. So if you don't feel safe in your temple, which is the
Mm,
body, and your
mhm.
environment, you're gonna resist the connection. And
Oh,
also the other thing I see a lot is people are so not used to receiving unconditional love, right? We
mhm,
learn that, you know, you must do this so you get rewarded in school with parents.
mm,
So we feel like, well, is there a string attached to this? Like, what do I have to
mhm,
give in
mhm.
order to get that? So these are some of the common resistance blocks or challenges that I
Makes
see.
sense. Yeah, that makes
And also, um, the best advice I have for your viewers that are looking to advance their channeling skill is to learn energy healing. When you understand and can feel and manipulate energy, like Doctor Strange, when that movie came out, I'm like, whoa, okay, the mainstream is coming out with some woke stuff there. So
yeah, yeah.
when you learn how to synthesize energy, the chi ball, and move energy up and down your body, then channeling becomes a lot easier because you can recognize, is this a good pure energy or is
Yeah,
this not a good pure energy? Good
yes.
should feel loving, light. A good high level guide would never control your body
Mhm.
without your consent. A lot
Right.
of people get confused, and there are tricksters that will try to trick you to make you feel love and light, but they really have other intentions. So you have to test out the being you're working with for a long time, right? You converse with them consciously before you allow them to like speak through you. So
Mhm.
it's just like a friend. It's just like an unseen friend, and you got to
Yeah.
test it out. That's why having a mentor is good because their field is like a spaceship.
Mm,
And when the people
yes,
come into
yes.
the mentor's field, you're in the mentor's field and you're
Mhm.
more likely to be held and protected. Whereas I've seen people when they channel, it's like an open mic karaoke. And I'm like, don't do that. That's not
Oh,
safe.
that's true. Yes, yes, yes. I
So
have seen that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Being really picky and quality over quantity. Some people
Mhm.
say, I want 20 guides. I'm like, you really
Ooh,
need one,
no.
right? Like myself, for example, the Octurian guides, I have Ali, who I converse with whenever I need to, but she never comes in and bothers me.
Yeah.
If you have guys like that, that's probably not good guides unless they have a strong message for you or something, but they would never come and tell you what to do or anything like that. They're very respectful. So a lot of us star seeds didn't come alone. So if the word star seed and the universe and the stars and the galaxy resonate with you, and if you're open-minded, you didn't come here alone. You wouldn't be dropped into a mission so hard like Earth by
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah.
So the key here is to connect with yourself first, integrate with yourself, and then find your soul family, whether it be a Pleiadian family or maybe you are Octurian soul. You might still have Pleiadian guys like Jeanette
Yeah.
shared, right?
Mhm.
But then your family is like more towards like a specific energy. Like for me, it's Octurian.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that I feel very close to. I trust them very well because I've worked with them for years before I even let people know on YouTube. I like,
Ah,
yeah, like to testing out first and then share it. So that's the key of wisdom is you got to learn how to balance that flow. So I hope that helps your viewers in terms of opening to
mhm.
channel and
Mhm.
connecting with their guides. Mhm.
That's powerful information. No one had ever really explained that was why I was resistant. I never really actually figured that out, but you just cleared that up for me. And I thought it was just, well, I was fearful a little, of course. But my mentor at the time, and I was with the group that we were in this space, and she did say, well, I'm going to question this being because we don't know who this
Mhm.
is. So she kept questioning before I brought through a little bit of a message. It wasn't really a long channel, but it was something. But
Mm.
it was interesting. And so it was a really good experience, really, after all that, after the initial like, whoa. so so I know your light language is incredible. So how did that come through, and how do you act? How did you activate that?
Yeah, it came in a series of events, but it started really is I was in a deep meditation and the Octurians came through. I asked my higher self, like, where is my galactic home? Like, I want to go to the Akash and remember. and they showed me the word Arcturus.
Mm.
And when I woke up from the meditation, they draw my head towards my bookshelf, and there was a book. The publisher was Arcturus.
Oh, wow.
So that was like an affirmation right there. I was like, oh my God, like, you know,
That's
those
definitely.
moments you're like, what? So I knew there was like a confirmation there. And I started just try to remember my Arcturian self. In more practices, my higher self started to show me my Arcturian self, that blue
Yes, the
being,
blue being.
and how I was walking down this great hall and I volunteered to come here. And I'm
Mhm,
like, great, okay, this makes me more sovereign, because now I can be
mhm,
like, I chose this. I must be able to do this. There must be more to this. And I was still in the corporate then. So just learning the ropes. And slowly over time, they would train me in channeling. I was very disciplined. Thank you to my culture. That's one thing about the
yeah,
Asian culture I do
yeah,
appreciate. Every day after work, I would come home, do yoga, and I would do a deep meditation to just receive from my higher self what I need to do. And slowly, like you said with the water, Jeanette, symbols started coming,
mhm,
and they
mhm,
they move like those symbols in that movie Doctor
mhm.
Strange. It's like
Oh,
an
yeah.
activation.
Yes.
Because before you come here, you basically say, okay, here's a point of activation, and here's what's going to help me. It's like a little light switch, and then you turn on that light switch. So these light switch keep happening for me, and then slowly they started to sing to me or chant to me in my ears, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then they would show me all these things that they would do, like grid work or energy work, and they were teaching me, and then it just started to come through like
Wow,
one day. So,
that's
and
beautiful.
once you open and once you remember, it's like a Pandora bag box. It's just like
Mhm.
very fast. So,
It's so, yes, and yours is really beautiful.
thank
So,
you, Jeanette.
yeah, I am. So, is there any messages that you need to bring through for us today through your light language? Do you have a
Sure.
call?
Yeah, I can definitely do a demo, because actually a lot of people are doing it in their showers and stuff, and they don't even realize it's light language.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would take like a maybe 2 minute just to demonstrate what my light language sound like, to show your viewers what it can sound like. So
Mhm, mhm,
when I connect and channel light language, we want to set an intention that
mhm,
is pure, it's light, it's love frequency. And I like to attune my heart to love as well. So it's a pure field of love that we're creating. And the next step is I connect myself to my Arcturian consciousness. I visualize the star Arcturus, stargate glowing, connecting and activating the DNA in my body. Let us today bring forth a chakra balancing Arcturian light language frequency.
mhm.
Dear source, dear Arcturian, stargate of light, love, and ascension. We love you, honor you, and thank you. Please bring forth a transmission of light to the receivers today as appropriately guided by their own higher selves. May they receive based on their consent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Transmission begins. Usam tukili muyo kwe, usam tukili muyo kwe, ini nali kili alunai ki ai sue, uli nai ki alunai, muile nai ki inaile, uli nai tili alu sulun nai ki ai, uli nai mi ai ki ayu ili nai, lukuli nai si nai, nule nai kili alue, muli nai aile ki itam. Translation: through 1,000 years of stargates and travels, you have arrived in this moment, dear ones. Allow the source ray of rainbow frequency to integrate within your light body and access thy cosmic multidimensional consciousness in this now, grounding this vibration into the grid line and embracing the high vibrational energy that surrounds you at all times, for you are a spark of light. We, the Octurians of light, Bring forth our light, love, at this time, as we work with you at this time to elevate the consciousness and vibration of this cosmic universe. All is one. Love to all, blessings.
Mm.
And transmission complete.
That's beautiful.
So yes, thank you. That's a quick
Yeah.
demo of a short version of what it can look
And
like.
it was so nice that you could tell us, you know, your translation, because I don't always hear that from people. They don't always tell you
Mm.
that. And you know exactly what you're meant to bring through. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like as I'm speaking, they have the
They're giving you,
telepathic message at the same time. So it's really cool.
it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So you talked about DNA.
Mhm.
So how much DNA strands have you activated within yourself? Do you know?
I have never really checked myself.
Oh, I guess you got to ask, huh?
Yeah, sometimes I like to just be humble and be like, you know what, it's whatever is appropriate. And um, yeah, I don't like to get too attached to it. But I know it's more than 7
Oh,
or 6 etherically a few years ago when I have someone checked for me. So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because yes, there's someone else I've worked with in the past who's been on, and she talks about DNA strands, that there's as many as,
Ah,
I mean, they're infinite, really. They're
yeah.
infinite,
Mhm.
just how much we're meant to connect with here.
Exactly.
But anything you want to tell us about the DNA strands and what you see are happening with people?
So definitely the body is changing. And those of us that have kind of been ahead of the time and have been doing these practices are finding even now during this chaotic time, a time of surprisingly peace and ease.
Mhm.
I think just using myself as an example, I feel like I'm very blessed because nothing has really changed except that I'm welcoming a baby, which is a
I
great news.
know. Congratulations. So
Thank you.
wonderful.
So the DNA is shifting into a more denser, linear manner to like a more uh, open, dimensional aspect of ourselves. So more people are coming to me, even friends that I would not expect that would be open to this. Like, oh, I'm seeing energy, I'm seeing aura. I'm like, oh, really? I mean, they're like, yes, I love this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
signs like that start to change because our DNA is morphing with the light. If you guys follow David Wilcock, he's very good at research. I'm not so good with it,
Yes. Yes.
but
Know
he
him well.
explains, yeah, how light carries light codes and can create and shift DNA through water. And since we're mostly water, we have our DNA, the sun codes that are coming in is shifting us. And Earth as well, she's becoming crystalline, like you described, instead of more iron,
Mhm.
linear, denser base. So we're all shifting together in this now. And I think that more and more people will seek this information because their higher self will guide them. And so during this time, it's really very interesting to watch what's happening, the duality, the multiple timelines that everyone seems to be, merging in, converging and diverging into. Magenta Pixie talks a lot about timelines. So
Yeah.
if any of your viewers are new to timelines, I think her content will give you a very good idea what it's about. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. DNA is, it's such a fascinating story about our DNA. And I just, you know, I got into DNA activation in early 2000s because it just came, you know, it was just meant to come. And I got
Mhm.
to activate my son and, you know, people like that, which was really cool. He volunteered. So I was real excited. I'm like, who
Oh,
wants me to do this? And he volunteered. So I was glad. And then I, you know, and so it's a powerful energy to know that this is happening with us and that people
mm,
need to be aware that this is the changes. And that's partly why I think why we're stopping and slowing down. And we've been isolated a little because we needed that to work on our individual.
absolutely. Like
Uh,
every move the dark ones makes, the pandemic and the lockdown, always backfires a little bit. There's the other side of it, like you
I know.
mentioned. People get to now really discover what they want to do with their lives, have time to heal themselves. Like my calendar exploded during the lockdown because people now finally have time to go within and
Yes.
get out of the slavery matrix like soul trap. So
Yes, yes. That's so
Mhm.
interesting. So we don't always go down that road with this, we bring in the energy to help people, but I love it because I need to know, what's going on like you do, obviously, because and some people don't want to know. They just want to stay
Mhm.
in the higher frequencies, which I guess is important too, because we do need to keep frequencies high. But then I,
Yeah.
being an indigo, like you are, some indigo, and we have to know this information. It's like, really? You're not going to know that? Okay. Well, I need to know. So it's kind of a fun thing. And it's interesting because I've learned so much about the earth and about the things I wasn't even aware of. I mean, we're constant students, right? You're a
Exactly.
constant student, I can tell, the explorer. So how did well, you told a little bit how you benefited from the chaotic time we're going through. Anything else that came through while you were, that really helped you out during this time? Besides a
Mhm.
baby. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely helping more people, because now people have more time, for events and come on YouTube and talk with one another. There's surprisingly more connection, and the connection is more towards like your soul family. I'm not talking about separation, but I'm just talking about there's this divergence that I see. You still have your friends, but as starseed, your old group of friends might not see you as that new version of yourself. Like I'm
Mhm.
100% sure my family and my friends doesn't know this Tiffany.
Right,
They
right.
know the depressed, the very insecure Tiffany. Like they see it on the outside, but they might not know. So I notice a lot of starseed now is really having this urge to seek their soul family, because when you upgrade, you need a new group of friends that see you as who you are now, not who you
Absolutely.
were.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm seeing in a lot of people's timeline is they're looking for that new recognition that I see you for who you are now, like
Mhm.
that type of vibration. That need is very deep during this time for many people.
That's powerful. I like that. That's really, and that's so true. It feels so right to me because we are connecting. We're doing things that we never thought we would do. I mean, you've gone deeper into your work. I mean, you've been deep anyway, but now you're really going into, your YouTube channel. So it's like you said, everything blew up, which is so great. It's so great. So do you have any final message for people at this time, that for this, the rest of
Yes,
this year,
yes.
what's going on, what you feel they need to hear?
I always like to bring forth a positive intention. Um, Wherever you are, just remember that you have the power to be a sovereign integral, and that means you're taking responsibility as a soulful or sovereign being. And
Mhm.
so, no matter what is happening around you, just know that there's so much divine intervention on the nomadic level, angelic level, galactic level, and even right here, our ground crew
Mhm.
supporting each other. So seek out those connections, seek out those support. Don't isolate yourself. You didn't come here to be stuck in the past, but let us rebuild Earth, the golden era of Earth,
Mhm.
and work with these beautiful energies, because we're not alone. And yes, there's forces not wanting us to succeed, but there's greater force that is here to scoop us up and help us become sovereign. So that's my last message.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. And we need to remember that we're not alone. We're not doing this alone. So, when I go through some tough times, because we all do, I have to reach out to the friends and the beings and everything. I've got to do it all. And then it takes time. Then you come back into your body, kind of settle in again. You're like, okay, I had to go through that. And now I'm better. So every
Yes.
time isn't it true?
Oh, it's so true. Sometimes I'm like to my Octarians, so just take me home, man.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You're like crying, and then
Yeah.
afterwards you're like, I can do this. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So
It's so true. It's not, we're really being put to the test right now.
yes.
And yeah, it's definitely like that. So we feel everybody on listening, we know what you're going through because we're all going through it. So, so we're all here to help each other. And so you have Tiffany here to reach out to. And I know, Tiffany, you have something for the wonderful audience that's listening. You have a gift, you have an offer, a free gift.
Oh yes, yeah. So those of you that are new to channeling and want to learn more about like the foundations, the protection, there's a free 3-day course that I have. I'm sure that Jeanette will post it
Oh yeah,
somewhere.
it'll all be connected to the emails, and they can easily click on it right after this. It should be right there when they
Exactly.
get
So
there.
it's like day 1, angels, day 2 is Center Master, day 3, animal
Wow.
totems. So you get to experience different energies and foundations. So
That's powerful. That's powerful
mhm.
because you did talk a lot about that. And did you have something else? I think you did. You have another offer? I can't remember.
Yeah, those are the free ones. I have other free courses on my
Did you have
website
another? Okay, I couldn't remember. I
and
didn't check.
lots of free stuff on my YouTube as
No, it's
well. So,
wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm really grateful that you're offering that to everyone because they really, whatever you felt guided is what this group needs that's listening. That's how I
yeah.
feel. Is that whatever, you're meant to bring through is what they need at the time. So that's
So
powerful.
depends on their level. Those are more like foundational. Those one that are more advanced, I do have paid offers like channeling or light language
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
being a healer. So I'm here to be in service. So whatever your viewers need at all
Yeah.
ranges
Thank
of
you.
prices. So thank you
Yeah.
for
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
inviting me here. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. So I just want to thank our audience who's listening. I always like to thank them. And we are so grateful that you're here and so excited to hear from you. Any feedback you might have for Tiffany or for me, I always let her know. You can go to her directly and give her some feedback because her energy is gorgeous, as you can tell. And I want to thank Tiffany so much for being this amazing, I'm calling you a crystalline essence of light, that
Yay.
you have fully owned your divine light and you are infusing it so others can, and infusing it out there so others can feel it and be connected to it and develop their own and bring it through themselves with your loving, compassionate light. And you're helping so many people empower themselves. And
Oh, thank
you are
you.
such a beautiful, beautiful light. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say, I am Isla Serrano Miller, and I will see you all on the next episode.